Hi everyone and welcome back to Stitchy. I'm Cheryl. Well, I've not seen you for a few weeks, have I? I've taken it a little bit slower this last few weeks after being frazzled the first half of the year, being so busy. So I've slowed things right down a bit after I had a few days away with my dad, and then I've just caught up on a few things, and obviously I'm still sending out orders and so on, but I've done less social media for the last few weeks. But here I am and I'm raring to go. So in my last video I made the Sew Over It Lucia top, which was the off the shoulder jersey top, and at the end of that video I said I wonder if it can be made into a woven fabric, because there's so many of these tops around at the moment. I was quite intrigued to see if it would work, and it's such an easy pattern to make as well. It wasn't such a big risk to have a go. So I made it, and here it is. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this fabric. This is called the Princess Kate fabric, and this is the Lady McElroy Viscose Crepe, which is just the most perfect fabric for this type of top. It drapes beautifully. It's like a marriage made in heaven for me, because viscose and crepe are my two favourite fabric types, so it's just gorgeous. It's not cheap, but for a little top like this you don't need too much fabric, so I thought it was a nice investment. So what I did was, this pattern has a long sleeve as standard, so I chopped off the sleeve pattern piece and I cut it at the first notch. If you're interested in doing something similar, it doesn't make the sleeve invisible under the flounce, it just pokes out slightly from there. You could turn the hem up to make it disappear completely, but I quite liked it, it was fine. And also I on the sleeve section I added 1 centimetre to the pattern on each end, and I also sewed it with a 1 centimetre seam allowance, so I gave myself a lot more room, because wovens aren't as stretchy as jerseys, so you need a bigger pattern really. So what you should do is size up from a jersey pattern going into a woven. The jersey version on me was quite large, so I didn't need to, I just kept the pattern the same, but if it fits you and you've made it before, then size up to create it into a woven. I'd advise that anyway. Okay, so with the flounce, everything else is the same. I didn't change a thing other than the sleeves and making it a little bit wider. They're still not massively roomy, so if you've got big biceps, then I'd recommend making the sleeve even wider, but you can play around with that. And also on the hem of the actual frill, I overlocked that, and then I just sewed it with a single line of stitching, and that worked beautifully. And I did that on the hem as well, and it hangs really well, so I didn't have to turn it up twice, which I always think may add bulk to a frill, and it sits really well. I think the key to this top is to get the length of the elastic right. This is probably a little bit tighter than I need, and I've used all the elastic in it, so I might have to redo it. I think it's comfier and it doesn't ride up as much if you make the elastic quite loose, so I'd play around with it and just knot it and leave a long tail before you actually sew it up and finish it off. So yeah, I think I'll have another bash at this, because it does tend to ride up a bit when and you can wear it ridden up, it still looks great, but I think it looks prettier if it's just off the shoulder. So yeah, really great. I've also noticed since this pattern came out that Nina Lee has released one, which is meant for woven fabrics, and it's a dress pattern as well as a top. So have a look at that one, and it's good value as well, if I'm right. It's great value. I had a quick peep online the other day. I've not made it, but have a look yourself. I'll pop links to both the patterns underneath. So that will save you doing any recalculation of converting a jersey pattern into a woven. Have a look at Nina's as well. So this week what I normally do is talk about something I've made or plan to make, and then talk about my closer look at fabric section, which I introduced a few weeks ago, which thank you for your kind comments. You all find it quite useful by the sound, so thank you. So this week I'm going to dedicate the whole video to looking a closer look at cotton fabric, because I think cotton's one of the the most difficult things to buy online, and there are so many variations of it. I thought I'd show you a few close-ups and a few pitfalls to avoid. So let's get stuck in. When I first started sewing about 4 or 5 years ago, sewing clothes, I made this and this. It's a beautiful dress, but it is made in quilting cotton, and I think it's a mistake that lots of new sewers make. So you wander into the fabric shop or you buy online, and I tend to go for the print, and I love this print. I love the shade of it's like a sage background, and it is the stiffest, most unwearable dress ever. So I have actually worn this. I wore it on a holiday, I think, in France at the time, but it's not great. It doesn't move with you like it should. It's too restrictive. It pulls across the back because it's not got any ease or any give in it, and yeah, it was a real shame. It's not a bad dress actually for a first project, or one of the first ones. I didn't put the invisible zip in because I didn't have one and I was too impatient, so that's messed it up a bit. But it's actually all right, isn't it? But it's just not wearable. And I think I made these neck bindings in curtain lining. This was a good curtain lining, mine. It was a sateen curtain lining. So yeah, not my best hour. So avoid quilting cotton unless the pattern is, I don't know, maybe a really basic skirt where it's not going to move much and you don't need it around things that are round and need to move. That's a good tip. Yeah, it sews beautifully, it presses amazingly, it's easy to work with, but you won't want to wear it. And I think lots of people have done that before, especially if you were crafters before you started sewing, because I had lots of fabric like this in my stash and it's really tempting just to sew that into clothes, but don't do it. So there you go, have a little giggle at my expense on that one. Here's another one that I had in my stash. I actually used this to make facings for my dungarees, so you can use it, just don't use it where you require movement, because it's too stiff. Look, it's not soft, it's a bit rough on your skin unless you wash it tons and tons of times. I think even as a pillowcase it'd be a bit, it's not the best to wear next to your skin. So yeah, try and avoid quilting cottons, even though there are so many different gorgeous prints. That's why it's tempting. The local shop to me in Swindon that sells fabric has got so many quilting fabrics. It is really tempting, and if you're not quite sure what you're buying when you first go in, you can get caught up in it. So yeah, avoid those for clothes. Another one that you might want to avoid is a Cath Kidston cotton duck. And it's gorgeous, and you might look at this online or in their shops and go, it's amazing, and I've made a kitchen blind out of this, which is where it belongs, as a cushion or a kitchen blind, or I think I reupholstered a kitchen stool with it as well to match, and it's amazing for that, because it's really tough, but as you can see it's got a real wide weave, and it's just really canvassy. So avoid that for clothes too, as beautiful as it is for everything else. So that's the yin, on to the yang. Now this is a cotton lawn, and you may have seen me show you this before, but I'll show you again. This is a beautiful top quality cotton lawn, and this is the Lady McElroy Brushstrokes, which you've probably seen around a few places. I've got it in a couple of shades. Actually, this is the last remnant piece of this, but I've got a darker shade as well. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's silky. It's got movement to it. There's a little bit of stretch on the bias, and it's just gorgeous. It would make the best summer dress or wedding outfit dress or summer party dress. Gorgeous circle skirts, because the folds would drape really nicely. And it works in so many different things. Pyjamas as well. A posh pair of pyjamas, mine, because it's not cheap. If you've looked online, it's so expensive to buy, so it's a luxury fabric for something special. So use your poly cotton to do a toile in the dress that you're making from this, perhaps. You don't get the same idea of drape when you're doing that in toiles, but you don't really want to make a toile from cotton lawn. It's too nice to waste. So yeah, it's so fine, and it's a lot thinner feel than a regular cotton. So I wouldn't say you'd want trousers in this that fitted trousers. I'd go for if you were insisting on making trousers in this, I'd make some palazzo style trousers or something that require a bit of drape. But really, this is for dresses and skirts, I'd say, and a really nice blouse or top as well. Okay, on to cotton that is for dressmaking. Now, this is a dressmaking cotton. It's 100% cotton, and this is my Ditsy. I think it's Dixie Dora I've called this. It's beautiful navy print background with pink flowers on. Now what you need to watch with these is that lots of them are narrow in terms of the width of the roll. So I think this is about 110 or 115 wide. So you just need to bear that in mind if you're going to make anything. So you probably need to buy more in length, because you won't be able to fit too many pattern pieces, especially when it's on the fold. But yeah, this is a gorgeous cotton. Again, it's really nice. It's not got the drape that a cotton lawn would have, but it's much more workable than a quilting cotton. So this would be really good for skirts, for some really nice short pyjamas or shorts, or a little short sleeve blouse or shirt, something like that. That's what this is really good for. I've also made a skirt from this for a little girl with an elasticated waist, and that works really quite nicely, especially in the narrower width. So for kids it's brilliant, because it's so hard wearing. So yeah, really nice, proper dressmaking cotton, but just be mindful of the width. Okay, next up, you sometimes come across cotton mixed fabrics, and they're really difficult to get an idea to what they're like unless you've got really good descriptions from where you're buying. This one's a cotton mix. It's almost got a canvasy texture, but it's not as stiff as the Cath Kidston one. So this would make a really nice skirt, or I could almost see a nice suit be made from this, with a gorgeous French style jacket and a skirt to match. So it's that kind of fabric. But with regards to other things you'd want to make for this, it's fairly limited. I bought this because I fancied making a tulip skirt from it, and I think it will be really nice with a plain white or a plain cream t-shirt with it. So yeah, you just have to be a bit mindful, because it's a poly cotton, it will wash and drape and not crease as much either. Next up, we've got cotton sateen, which is quite similar to a cotton lawn in many respects, but it's still not got that exact feel like that. So it's really satiny, so it's like the fibres are a lot finer, and it's been made a lot finer. And this is great for summer dresses, summer skirts, or winter skirts in the right print, of course, but I'm thinking about this pattern. And it's got a little bit of drape. There's no give in it though, so this is 100% cotton, as all these are, apart from the mix and the poly, of course. So you have to bear that in mind. So I thought about turning this into some 7/8 trousers type of thing, but I'm really not sure if it's got enough body to it. I think it probably has, and I've made trousers from fabric a lot thinner than this before, so maybe I'll just give it a go. But you have to bear it in mind that with regards to the movement that you need when you're sewing this kind of thing. But yeah, it would make a stunning dress for summer. This is another dressmaking cotton, and this is a wide version. So if you remember the Ditsy Dora one I showed you before, that was quite narrow. This is 150 wide, and you can see it's folded, so get you a better idea if I unfold it. So this again would make a gorgeous shirt, something that requires structure, something that needs to hold a button placket and give some weight to that. And it's not too heavy, so it's it's more a sophisticated cotton, this one, rather than the stiffer basic ones that you get to make quilts with. So this would be beautiful, and also be great for pyjamas and that type of thing. Anything that requires structure and where you don't necessarily need drape, although you could probably get a little bit of drape out of this too if you wanted to make a skirt with it. And this is perfect for little accents as well, so the inside of a pocket or lining a waistband or facings and that type of thing to add a little bit more interest into your sewing. So even if you've got little bits of pieces like this in your stash, you can always use them to sew little accents onto the clothes that you're making, even if it's not that appropriate to sew the whole garment in it. Okay, next up, this is the cotton gauze, and you've probably seen this before. I think I might have shown you a pink one before. I had it in pink and grey. This is the grey one. So this is also 100% cotton, and its gauze is made by bonding two very fine layers of cotton together, which gives you that kind of double-sided effect. So it's got weight to it. I think if one of these layers was on their own, it'd be quite slim and see-through, but it's beautiful with the actual bonded together. And again, this would be lovely as a shirt, or even a shirt dress actually. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Because it's heavy enough to take the placket and the buttons and the pockets and that type of thing. So you always have to think about the weight of a fabric. Now, some retailers list the actual weight of their fabrics and some don't. Where I'm given the weight, I try and list it, even though it won't mean much to you if you're not too sure about buying fabrics. But this is 130 grams, 130 grams per metre square. So it's a kind of suck it and see really. There's no point me trying to explain weights, because you really need to buy something, know what weight it is, and then compare everything to that you then buy. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's just a case of experience really. But yeah, this is a good quality, I'd say a medium weight cotton. So that's gauze, so keep an eye out for that. It's quite a robust fabric as well. And then finally you get cottons like this, which again, it's another 100% cotton, so technically you'd think they'd all feel the same, but they don't. This one is I just fell in love with this when I felt it. It's almost got a peach skin style feel. So it's not brushed cotton like a winceyette or flannelette, but it's so soft on the top side, and underneath it's like a regular shirt weight style cotton. But there's just something really special about this one. So it's really important to read the descriptions and write the descriptions well, from my point of view as well, to make sure that it just kind of gets across what the touch and look and feels like and how it's going to wear. So I'm going to turn this into a shirt dress. On my Make 9 for 2018, I've got beautiful, I think it's a Simplicity shirt dress to make, and I'm going to make it in this, and also I've got a chambray that's a distressed denim with little dots all over, and I think they make two beautiful shirt dresses. So if the first one works out, then I'll make it in this. If it doesn't, then I'll try a different pattern, because it's just begging to be made into a shirt dress, this. But it would make a cracking pair of pyjamas as well, wouldn't it? Pyjama bottoms for girls or boys as well, wouldn't it? But yeah, this is just so beautiful. So yeah, that's the last one I've got to share with you today, and these are just the wovens. So we could do this whole thing again with jersey style cottons as well. So I hope you found that interesting and helpful. I know how difficult it is when you're buying fabric online, especially if you're buying on eBay and that kind of place where maybe the descriptions are a little bit more sparse, but hopefully you've got a bit more info behind you to make that decision. The key thing is just to look in your wardrobe and find the clothes that you like to wear, look at the label and look at the composition of that fabric. So if you find that you haven't got many things made in 100% cotton, then don't sew stuff in cotton. You know, for me, I was quite surprised when I was learning all about fabric how many of my clothes were made from viscose, or how many tops and blouses were. And that's just the fabric I like, because I like things really lightweight and soft. I wouldn't find too many cotton things in my wardrobe. So just have a look, and that's the best way to learn, and especially with bottoms, so trousers and skirts. It's a good idea to have a look. You'll find that in most trousers these days they have a little bit of stretch as well, so if you're then going to make some trousers, think about how they're going to move, and choose a cotton that's a cotton spandex as well, which I've not even come on to. We could go on all day about all the different stretch elements in it. So I hope you found that helpful. Next time I'm going to make my Stella hoodie. Hooray! I know I spoke about it a few weeks ago, and then the weather got really hot and I didn't think it was quite the right time to make it. So, so it's still warm this week, but I'm going to crack on with it, because sooner or later it won't be, will it? And I'll have something nice and cosy to wear while I'm sat up here, because it's boiling up here in the summer and it's freezing cold in winter. So I could really do with something nice and cosy to throw on the cold mornings. I'm hopefully going to make a couple in different styles to give you an idea as to how that pattern looks, and I'll do a full pattern review of how easy it is, how I found it as well. So I'll be back here next time to share that with you. Okay, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. You take care. Bye for now.